And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to YouTube. My name, of course, is Seth. We actually started on time. Well, our planned on time tonight. So thank you to my partners here for both being on time and ready to go tonight. So
I feel like these are all shots at me, and I don't appreciate it.
well, if the shoe fits,
I'm here at 9:30 almost every night. At least every other night.
Yeah, there you go. As long as we maintain some sort of
So
consistency.
I think we need to. I think we need to hold off for a minute. I need to go. I didn't get the memo.
You didn't get what memo?
What's the memo? Kits?
That we're wearing kits tonight. I didn't get that.
You got a USA shirt on. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the Olympic shirt too.
There you go. The Olympics. Oh man, that's a topic we're gonna have to start getting into. Yeah, there's some interesting stories coming out of the Olympics. Interesting stuff coming out of MLS, Premier League. There, U.S. soccer. There's all kinds of stuff that's come out. And I mean, unfortunately, we don't have we don't have all the time in the world to talk about everything that we want to. But we do have a lot to get to tonight. Before we do get into that, though, thank you guys so much for being here on YouTube with us. My name, of course, is Seth. Joining me, we have Jacob and Earl, as always. And what we do here on Tuesday nights is we sit down and we talk some New Mexico United, we talk USL, we talk the world of sports at large, and we ignore clicking of pins. I know exactly what Jacob was trying to do. And so anyway, we're here. We're starting early tonight. Some of us have early mornings tomorrow, so we figured out a way to accommodate that. And, appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And we are enjoying sound effects as usual. So thank you guys again so much for being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell so that you know when we do.
I think he
live.
Just talked straight through that.
Yes, I did.
I don't think he. I think he's just going to delete your file from that. Well, we're not doing the pod yet, so.
No, we're not doing the pod. And unfortunately, there's no way for me to mute him without muting both of you when we are live on YouTube. So,
well, that's okay. I don't talk when he does that.
But no, if you've been with us for the past couple weeks, you know that Earl has been giving us some little sound clips that we've been enjoying. And before we start,
that's one word for it.
Yeah, that's one word. Earl, do you have any new sounds for us tonight?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. I just want to see if we had that, so we could clear that out before we actually get into the show. Okay, he's going to find something. All right, so yeah, I mean, a lot to get to. We obviously won't touch on everything, but we do have our previews of San Antonio and El Paso. We tried to get some guests on the show this week. We were gonna have Jerry Murillo on. He backed out on us earlier today. Unfortunately, we will get him on though. We're still planning on getting Harry on the show. We've kind of hinted at like life changes, life things going on. So I've fallen down on my end on getting Harry on the show. We will get Harry on the show, I promise. And if you follow us on Twitter, you might have seen that the podcast Twitter account was weirdly silent for like the last month. I kept running into an issue where it was saying like couldn't send tweets, couldn't retweet, all this kind of stuff. I finally reached out to Twitter support. I was like, all right, what is going on? They're like, oh, your account accidentally got flagged as a spam account. I'm like, wait, what? How did that get flagged as a spam account? And yeah, that was the explanation that they gave, is that our Twitter account was flagged as spam, and so they locked the account. I couldn't do anything. We were getting DMs, couldn't respond to them, couldn't tweet, couldn't retweet, couldn't do nothing. And I'm assuming, which is weird because yes, I retweet stuff from the account, but I generally try to interact with people, or do quote tweets and put stuff out. So I don't. And they said the account was accidentally caught up in their spam flagging. So they unlocked the account. So the Twitter is working again. So thanks Twitter support for finally getting that fixed. But anyway, Earl, did you find anything?
And then I run the Somos Mas account, and I got kicked, or logged out somehow on the app, and I have no idea what the login stuff is. So it might be eerily silent for a little while until I can figure out what text do there.
All right, that sounds like
I don't know
fun.
if Earl, do you have the Twitter login? Is Earl live?
Yes.
Yeah, he's live. He's thinking. You can see the wheels spinning.
Yes, you have it, or
Yes.
yes, you're there. Can you send it to me, please?
Yes, I have. I can send it to you. Yeah, I can send it to you.
Thank you. I don't know why there was hesitation there, but thank you.
I just wasn't sure if the password is still good or if you changed it.
I have no idea. I don't know at all. So hopefully yours is still good. Otherwise, we might have to make a new Twitter.
Yeah, you can. I think you can always get it reset and all that kind of stuff if we really need to. So.
Well, so I tried to reset it, and it did the whole send notification to this number,
Yeah.
ending in this, and I don't know what number
What does
that
it
was.
end in?
That's nice.
61.
Which one did it end in?
61. Are you there?
He's thinking.
I thought it was Chris.
Yeah,
I thought it was Chris.
My wheels are turning.
I thought it was Chris Wynn, but it's not. So I don't know who it is. But I'll try what you just sent me, and hopefully that'll work.
I might have an idea who it is. I could ask.
Well, let me try this one first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. If you are with us here on YouTube, I know there were some folks that were going to join us. Harry asked if we were going to be live tonight at 9:30. I told him at 8:45. So hopefully Harry is here with us in the chat. If you are in the chat, as always, you can be part of the show. Throw your questions and comments in the chat as we're going through, and we will get to those. We will gladly discuss all of your takes on New Mexico United, the USL at large, and even if you have some, some off the wall stuff, we'll probably get to that as well. But anyway, that's it for our preamble. We are going to get started on our show, so stay with us, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United, the world of the USL, and sometimes sports discussion from, everything else from the world of sports. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me tonight here on episode number 50 is Jacob Terrell and Earl Nieto. Guys, thank you so much for being here, as always. Monumental episode for us. I mean, obviously, if things had gone differently in 2021, we would have, of course, hit episode 50 a little bit sooner, but episode 50, big episode for us. And there is Harry in the chat saying boo NMU. Harry, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Would love to get your thoughts ahead of this week, ahead of tomorrow night's match. Can't wait to hear from you. Can't wait to hear from anyone else in the chat. And guys, before we get into tonight's episode, I have one burning question for you. Hypothetically, if you were to be hired as the manager of a team of your choice, any team, what is the number one thing that you should not do to that team?
Piss off your star player. For those of you not watching, for those of you, go ahead, Earl.
I was gonna say I don't have anything else to say other than what you just said.
Yeah, for those of you not watching, Seth has 2 Atlanta United scarves behind him, and he is wearing an Atlanta United striped kit.
The championship kit. Thank you very much.
Whatever, living in the past, buddy, living in the past. And
hang on. I have one thing to say.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
One thing to say. Fuck 5 stripes.
Oh.
Too far, Earl. Too far. Can't.
Man. All right.
Can't be with you on this one, Earl.
Yeah.
Can't be with you on this one, Earl.
No, I mean, yeah, it's.
You don't even follow MLS, Earl. You have no say.
Earl has quietly become a Nashville supporter, which is really, really strange. But at least they're wearing black and yellow, so I can kind of see it.
It's a weird yellow, though.
It is a weird yellow. But yeah, no, it's
Who cares what yellow it is? Freaking Mukhtar. Who cares?
he was impressive that night. He really was. I went back and watched it on ESPN Plus. That was a great match for Nashville. He looked really good. So hat tip to Harry Mukhtar for getting a hat trick the other night. All in the first half, I think it was within 6 minutes is what I saw. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Nashville on their win. But yeah, no, there was a massive story that came out of
Why did we
MLS.
start this? Why?
Earl's got a lighter. Just don't set any flags on fire, Earl. Ah, thank you, Harry. Thank you. Yes, sir. 50
That was my
episodes.
vigil for Sorry, go ahead. I'm just gonna mute myself and just stop talking.
No, that's quite all right, Earl. Yeah, so I mean, there were a lot of big stories that came out of the world of sports around the world. I mean, there's reports of the Olympics having cardboard beds so that athletes won't have sex on them. There's have you not seen this?
I don't pay attention to the news. We should know
Yeah,
this by now.
Supposedly they're like cardboard framed beds so that the Olympic athletes won't have sex on them in the Japanese Olympic Village. There are
Well, what's the fun of the Olympics? That's like the main part of accepting an invite.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Earl get his Olympic invite to go hook up with other Olympians. So, yeah. Then I saw a story today. I guess there's an Olympian that has some disabilities that was not allowed to have their assistant there with them because they weren't considered an essential person. Like I'm thinking, if you have an Olympian with disabilities that needs someone there to assist them, that's gotta be an essential person. Like how could it not be, if you ask me? And then you've got Premier League news. You've got the disturbing news coming out of Everton. Apparently, a player being suspended from the first team and arrested for alleged child sex offenses. Yeah, it's just been a crazy few days. We've got U.S. Open Cup news we're going to talk about, and then of course Atlanta United, of course, fired their coach after 13 matches with him in charge. And there are numerous reports coming out saying he was denying players water, holding 2-a-day training sessions in the Deep South, and he made the decision to freeze Joseph Martinez out of the first team. And I mean, there's a lot of stories coming out here lately that just have boggled my mind. I mean, is there anything that stands out for you guys in the world of sports that just makes no sense to you as to why people are acting the way they are?
Earl, do you want to take this?
No, I don't, because sports is sports, and fuck Five Stripes.
Oh,
Earl is on one today, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if it was the year of quarantine that just messed everybody's brains up, or part of me wonders if this stuff happened way more often than we thought, and it's just way more exposed now. It's way more out in the open with everything. But it's definitely interesting right now with everything going on. Power trips, man. That's all I can say. Power trips. People think they own everything when they are professional athletes or professional coaches, or not everybody. Obviously, there's thousands and thousands of, maybe even millions of professional athletes out there that are just great people, but you don't hear about them. You hear about the ones that are full of issues, because that's what gets clicks.
yeah, no, drama definitely gets clicks, and that's something we try to stay away from here. Obviously, we try to bring the
Except for
stories-
Earl.
except for
Earl embraces it.
Yeah, we want to talk about it. We want to bring awareness to it, and we want to have discussions with among the three of us and with those here in our chat. And Harry makes a great point. Atlanta United coach had to go for several reasons. Yeah, Heinz came in under with lofty goals, lofty expectations, and I mean, obviously, you can't help the fact that Joseph was coming back from an ACL tear. He finally came back. He got healthy. He went off to international duty. Ended up getting COVID. Came back. Had a heart issue, and then you you find out that he's frozen Joseph out of the first team training. Didn't even put him in the 18 against New England Revolution over the weekend. And then after losing, Heinz gets fired. I mean, 8 matches in a row without a win. Never going to look good. I mean, 13 matches in, you've got 2 wins, which is not a good look. And then you hear all these stories coming out about how he's handling training, how he's handling personnel within the club, how he's handling media, and the number of issues just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. And I don't. To me, I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter who the coach is, who the entity is. Like if you've got that many issues piling up, if you've got the MLSPA getting involved or whatever, whoever getting involved, that coach has got to go. If you ask me, and I can't think of any other solution. It doesn't matter what league it is, to where these types of things will be allowed to continue.
Yeah, that my problem with Atlanta's situation is where do they go? Who do they look at? I can't think of a coach that's at least in this part of the world that is available right now that could come in and be an upgrade over people that they've had before. So I think you think they just leave the interim for the rest of the season and see if they can pick somebody off from somewhere else in the off season?
No, I don't think they keep him as interim for the entire season. I know the club definitely has to get someone hired. They have to get them in. They have to get it right. I mean, there are some names available. A name I saw tossed out there was Frank Lampard. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, I don't. I'm not even entirely sure that I would want Frank Lampard as the coach, but he has ties to the MLS. Having played for NYCFC, and there are some other names out there, but yeah, it's just they've got to hit it. They've got to hit a home run with whoever they hire. They've got to bring someone in that can work with the players and is willing to make adjustments, because you've got Joseph coming out today, and he reaffirmed himself after there was reports saying he was leaving after this season, and all this kind of stuff. I see people saying wait till August 2nd to see if Tata's available, because Tata's contract with El Tri runs out in August. So it's tough. It's a tough situation to be in for any club, and I think some fans, and I think if something like that happened here with us at New Mexico United, 13 matches in, you fire your coach. This is not something that American fans are used to. You're not used to the kind of expectations and goals that you see from the bigger leagues. So, lot of long way to go this season. Lot to talk about. Lot to see what happens. I know Atlanta plays tomorrow against FC Cincy, so who knows? Maybe Joseph becomes more of like a player coach. Who knows? Maybe the coach they have in there now is just going to let them play a little bit more instead of and trusting the players to do what they need to do. So, but anyway, enough about Atlanta United. No, that's not why we're here. One of the biggest stories.
That was literally the worst 8 minutes of my life.
I'm sorry, Earl. Next time we'll talk about wrestling. How about that? Do you have it? Actually, you know what?
I mean, if you were to bring up like,
how did Money in the Bank go?
What?
How did Money in the Bank go?
Oh, you read my mind. You read my mind. It went great, by the way. Thanks for asking, Jacob. In case you're wondering what Money in the Bank is, it's the yearly show where they climb the ladder and get a contract to face the WWE champion at any time. One of those contracts is already used up because almost super. You can't hear me.
Who can't hear you?
That's cool. Anyways, we'll fix this here in a minute. I'll leave and come back in. Anyways, almost superhero Nikki ASH did cash in on Charlotte Flair last night to win the championship. Um, so there's still one left with Big E. He won the men's. Um, we saw John Cena return. We saw Goldberg return. Um,
I saw he's taking on Bobby Lashley, right?
so it was a pretty good.
Is
Yeah,
it
Goldberg's taking on Bobby Lashley, and John Cena will take on Roman Reigns
Cena
all in
Roman?
Vegas
Oh,
at SummerSlam, which I'm still trying to convince my wife that'd be a good one. I can't wait.
I completely
It's
missed that
looking
announcement.
good. Harry, you're right. It did go okay, except for the buffering on Peacock because Peacock sucks. But I found if you restart, if it does it again, just FYI, if it does do it again, just restart your system. So if you're watching on Xbox or PlayStation, just restart it and then it reboots it and it works out. Um, and then we have Edge versus Seth Rollins, which will be a good one. We saw the Usos win the tag team championship. Harry, what was your take on Money in the Bank?
Yeah, Earl, I'm glad you watched it. I didn't get a
Because I
chance
know
to.
Seth didn't watch it.
Well, I would have, except I had my boys and they're not real big into wrestling, so I didn't put it on. I will watch it probably like tonight or tomorrow while I'm editing. But yeah, no, I was super excited to see what happened. I saw
Your
the
boys,
Goldberg thing.
your boys are at the perfect age to get them into it, though.
They are, and my oldest son did watch with his mom a little bit, but she doesn't really watch quite as much anymore. I don't think. Um, and then my youngest, he hasn't grown up with it. Like he hasn't really seen it, too much. So maybe try to ease them into it a little bit. But you don't like Goldberg? How dare you? How dare you, Earl?
I do not like Goldberg. Like I just put now, he's washed up and should not be competing.
Well, I mean, Hogan shouldn't be
Also,
competing
what I
his
put in
age
the
either.
chat, I
Neither
was
should Ric
super
Flair.
upset. Ric Flair is like invincible, and Hulk Hogan is immortal. Um, but I do not like the way they squashed Kofi Kingston. Kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm a huge Kofi fan. Um, did I expect him to win? No, he's not gonna beat Bobby Lashley, but I did expect a better match. So that was that. Overall, though, and then we can move on to what we're actually here to talk about. Oh, Jacob left, so I can talk all I want now. Yes. Uh, Overall, it was a really, really good pay per view. It started off really, really stupid and sucky, and then got better at the end. The main event was good. I was hoping to God I saw Becky Lynch come back and interfere with the Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair match, but that didn't happen. I'm expecting something for SummerSlam. That's my bet.
Harry,
Anyways, Jacob's bored, so we can move on to talk about bees or some bullshit.
I was saying,
No, I'm not bored at all. I couldn't hear a word you said for the last 5 minutes or so. So I was talking to my wife and complaining about you. So so it was fine. But now I can hear you again, so we can move on.
Yeah, I think Goldberg's a little bit too old to be making a comeback again. That's just my opinion. I mean, I was a huge fan of his back in the WCW days. Harry, I didn't realize you were a WWE fan. We should, if we can, if one of you guys has a chance, pull up the link to our WrestleMania episode and throw that in the chat.
Wait, I didn't know the goalkeeper for the Mighty Ducks wrestled. That's the Goldberg we're talking about, right?
No, that is not.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I just wanted to see Earl's face. That's really what I want to see.
So yeah, if one of you guys has the opportunity, find the link to our WrestleMania recap, and we'll put that in the chat and
on it.
Let some folks take a look at that. But anyway, on to U.S. soccer news. Big announcement today. U.S. soccer has officially canceled the 2021 U.S. Open Cup. And no, we're not talking Olympic soccer yet, Earl. We're going to get into that here probably next week.
Can we just hurry and move to the Olympics part of this all? That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
We talked about it. They're having sex on cardboard beds.
Yeah, there you go. That was the Olympic news this week. The Olympics will kick off here 3 days, I think it is. 3 days they'll kick off. So we'll have something on that next week. We'll talk some Olympics.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
U.S. U.S. soccer team kicks off at 2 in the morning. And that's why we'd move this up earlier, because 2 in the freaking morning I'll be awake watching Megan Rapinoe and Carly Lloyd and Alex Morgan squash the hell out of Sweden.
Yeah, that'll most likely happen. I don't think anyone will bet against you there. I fully expect U.S. women's national team to claim the gold. Any other result to me, honestly, I don't see happening. But yeah, we got a lot. Well, there's so much going on. Yeah, Canada's got their Open Cup. Harry stood up in chat. I saw the announcement about that. I think that's honestly going to be a much better tournament than what U.S. Open Cup would have put out this year with the non-openness of it. But fortunately, the 2021 version has been canceled, and the 2022 format has been announced. Starting next season, we're going to avoid the international breaks, which I think is a huge deal. So all the top players from each of the leagues will get to play. And then they're going to spacing out the time between the rounds. So you won't have like round 1 play and then round 2 play the very next week, which I think is two really big changes for the Open Cup. It will go back to the truly open format that we had before with, with the play-in rounds and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to have, they're expecting over 100 clubs to enter the tournament for 2022. And everything for that kicks off on January 6th. With the open division berth allocation announcement, and then first round pairings being announced on January 19th. And then the other big news regarding the U.S. Open Cup in 2022 is that approximately half of the MLS clubs will be entering in the 3rd round instead of all of them entering in the 4th round, which I think is a huge change. And even on their own website, the U.S. Soccer has said that it's to give more David versus Goliath type matchups, and I think that's going to be interesting. Depending on who's in there, I mean, maybe we see some USL upsets again from some of these MLS sides. I honestly don't expect NISA or UPSL or any of the other lower leagues outside the USL to really do a whole lot. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on US Open Cup coming back for 2022? Do we think the new changes to the format are going to be beneficial?
Yeah. I hope that it allows teams like New Mexico United, San Antonio FC, not El Paso because I hate them, to space out, make deeper runs. Like for us right now, without Amondo, because of Gold Cup, not doing it during those international breaks will help us out a little bit, and I think that overall it'll be a better product. So I'm glad to see that while they completely botched this year's version of it, whatever it was going to be, they botched it so bad that they just had to cancel it. I'm glad to see them making positive changes for next season, and hopefully it pays off, and the product on the pitch is better than what some may think it would be.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to get back to it and get it going, and seeing every single match being played live on ESPN Plus, which I think is going to be fantastic. ESPN Plus is going to have so much soccer starting next season. I mean, with the addition of La Liga, and there's just so much to watch. Like, it's going to be absolutely insane. And then the other thing that came out of the announcement today is that the 2022 CONCACAF Champions League spot has yet to be decided. Currently, Atlanta United is still the defending champion of the last Open Cup that was played. So whether or not Atlanta United automatically gets that spot in Champions League next year, I don't know. Hopefully, that sounds like they're going to have a decision on that in coming days. Earl, do you think Atlanta United should get that spot once again, or how do you think U.S. Soccer goes about handing out?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Yeah, we knew that. He said fuck Five Stripes 3 times already in this episode. He's not going to be like, yeah, give him the Open Cup entry.
Well, Earl, how do you think U.S. Soccer determines that? Do you think they go off
Nope,
of like Supporters Shield from last season, or?
So here's the thing. Here's my pay scale and my knowledge of anything MLS, CONCACAF, any kind of qualifier automatic. I mean, we have Qatar playing for a freaking Gold Cup because they're hosts of the World Cup. Uh Anyways, here's my knowledge of all that and my pay level for that, and here's where that sits. It's way between my knowledge, and I know that Nashville's not part of it. So once again, as I've said about 6 times today now, is FFS.
And Earl has left the chat. Thank you very much, Earl. We'll talk to you next week. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how U.S. soccer handles this. I mean, there's really no precedent for it other than to go back and say, okay, well, Atlanta United is technically still the defending champion, but we haven't played the tournament in 2 years, so maybe they give it to them. Or I think what they need to do is go off of the 21 MLS results in some way. You know, whether it obviously Supporter Shield winner gets in there automatically, the MLS Cup champion gets in there automatically. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think Atlanta deserves to be in it, but
give it to the MLS back is tournament.
I think they already
give it
get
to
one.
MLS is back tournament winner. Do they?
Yeah, I think the MLS is back tournament winner automatically gets in there. I mean, I'll have to look it up. I could be wrong, but Harry in the chat, I think, and others have said do a round robin between champions of NISA, USLC, USL League One, and top MLS team not in a CONCACAF spot. That could be an interesting take. That could be an interesting format. I don't think. I still think it heavily favors MLS. I mean, granted, Open Cup always does, but it's hard to say. Not an MLS slot. Yeah, that is correct. It's not a guaranteed MLS spot. So, it's, I don't know, maybe give it to the 2021 USL champions. I don't know. Like, I have no good answer for this, but I don't think Atlanta United deserves to be in it again next year. I really don't.
My question is this.
Just give it to Nashville.
My question is this. Unless Philadelphia Union can win it this year, an MLS team has not won it, so who cares? Just put another Liga MX team in there, or throw in a USL Championship team just to see what they can do. It doesn't matter at this point. The top USL team or the top MLS teams are going to get it anyways. So this last spot is going to be for, if they do it any way, shape, or form by the 2021 MLS standings, it's going to be a team that probably isn't going to make a deep run in it anyways. So I say why not give it to a USL Championship team and see what they can do just for shits and giggles.
If that's the way you went, if that's the way they go, if they go the USL Championship route, if not counting like whoever wins the league this year, we're not even thinking that far ahead yet. We don't know who's going to win the league. Based on what we've seen so far, what club in the USL Championship do you think would deserve that spot?
Oh, you're really going to make me say Phoenix, aren't you?
No, I'm not going to make you say Phoenix.
I think that's the answer, though, nope. is Phoenix. And who is it then?
Lou City.
Lou City, okay.
I mean, maybe, but if you look at the table right now, Phoenix is above Lou City. If you look at last year, Phoenix made it to the Cup final that they couldn't play because Tampa Bay. So if we're just going off of what we know right now, I don't know how it's not Phoenix. I would personally say give it to the Cup champion this year. Whoever wins in the playoffs should make it. I lean that way more so than the Supporter Shield winner, because the winner of the Cup playoffs has that single game elimination experience, fought through that, and came out on top. So that's going to be more needed in something like the CCL. So just do that, call it a day, and it probably won't matter at the end of the day, anyways.
Yeah, and Harry in the chat. Garber would never give the USL spot. No, absolutely not. Garber would not want to cede that amount of power to the USL Championship, and I don't think US Soccer would either, because USL Soccer is all about the MLS and giving MLS the competitive advantage whenever they can. Phoenix or Rowdies, yeah, I would love to see the Rowdies, just because fuck Phoenix. But yeah, I think Rowdies would be fantastic to watch. Lou City would be fun to watch. Lou City's gonna be fun to watch when we play them here in a few weeks. That's gonna be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. U.S. Soccer's got a big decision on how they handle that spot, and I just don't know that there's an easy answer.
I lied. Phoenix and Lou City are actually tied on points, but Phoenix has a game in hand. So, yeah, there's not a simple answer, and so it's what it's probably going to be is the top finishing team that isn't already in it from the MLS, because that's what they would do. That's what makes the most money for them. So it sucks. I'd like to see. I honestly would like to see a Phoenix or a Tampa Bay or a Lou City or somebody along those lines get a chance just to see how we stack up. But like you guys said, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see no matter what happens. Hopefully we get an announcement here in the next couple days as far as what happens with that slot. But, no matter what happens, I think it's fair to say that Champions League is what it is. It's going to be hard to see an MLS club or anyone outside of Liga MX ever win that. So, it is what it is. I'll still watch it as much as I can, given that it's broadcast, on like obscure channels. But anyway, let's get on into our USL discussion. First, a little bit of news that came out today. Kalen Ryden voted to Team of the Week. So congratulations to Kalen for that. 2 great performances last week, and excited for him. Glad to see him returning to form after a tough Friday night, which we got to talk to him about. And we talked about on the show last week. So congratulations to him. Also, the club announced today that they are extending their partnership with REDW for another through the 2023 season, I think is what I read. REDW, of course, is the sponsor for the substitutions. So big news there. Could New Mexico United host if they were the team? No. No. Unfortunately, they couldn't because of the arrangement with you know what, given the timing of when it happened, I think it would fall outside of the Isotopes schedule in terms of Champions League.
I don't think they would bring a club to a baseball stadium, though. No. So they would probably make us play it at UNM Soccer Complex, which just doesn't hold enough people for their qualifications. So my guess, I don't know for sure, but my guess would be a big fat no until we get our own stadium, hopefully in
another place that they
4 or 5 years.
Possibly another place they could possibly throw it is at the Nusenda Stadium on the west side.
Yeah, I still don't think that holds enough, though. I think for CONCACAF Champions League, you'd have to hold probably more than Isotopes even holds, upwards of like 20,000 at least. So, and I mean, it depends on who we play. We might play, a team from Panama or something like that, or wherever else these teams come from. Honestly, who I can't keep up with everybody except for the Mexican League and our league, so that's all I pay attention to, because that's all that ever actually comes out of it. But maybe we get somebody that wouldn't draw that well, and they wouldn't need as many seats. But even then, you're looking. I mean, what does the soccer complex hold? Like 7,000, 8,000?
I think it's like 6.
Yeah, and then Nusenda, I think, might hold a little bit more than that, but not much. Probably about the same. So it just won't happen until we get our own stadium. Just like in the USL Open Cup or in the US Open Cup, We won't host home games for that until we get our own stadium. Would be my guess. Since that first year we didn't host any, we just don't have a chance. We don't have the seating capacity in other stadiums, and our one stadium that can hold 15,000 is a baseball stadium. And until we resolve that, it's just not going to happen.
What about New Mexico Yeah, the problem with that is the turf.
Yeah, it's turf, and they will not allow us to host one of those competitions on a turf field with, and it's got the permanent New Mexico University of New Mexico Stadium decals on it and the football stadium. So it's like if you watched Indianapolis last year or the year before playing at Lucas Oil Stadium, it would be similar to that, and they don't want that for the Open Cup.
Yeah, it's just not a great look.
And tearing it up is now not an option because they just spent like $3 million on renovations.
Yeah,
just on the turf alone.
Yeah, they did a massive overhaul on the new logo and everything out there, new decals, whatever it is.
It does look really nice, though.
It does. Admittedly, it does. But yeah, I have a hard enough time watching Indy play at Lucas Oil. I can't imagine playing. I mean, don't get me wrong.
They're not playing there this year.
No, they're not. But I mean, you could get a good crowd at a University Stadium, but I just don't want to see that, and I don't want to play on turf. Like we talked about, I hate playing on turf. Like I hate going to Salt Lake and some of these other places and seeing the ball, bounce 25 feet
awkwardly.
In the air. I hate seeing that. Admittedly, playing on the baseball field is not great, as by any stretch of the imagination. But when balls are bouncing 30 feet in the air, like, and
75% of the baseball stadium, though. Yeah, at least our baseball stadium is pristine.
Yeah.
Like the Isotopes groundskeepers do a great job in the outfield and the infield grass. It looks beautiful, but the infield is rough. I'm assuming, Harry, that you're talking about Colorado Springs, the new stadium up I-25, and I mean technically that's an option, and we did have a home game there last year, but no. I think they would just rather. I think the team would just rather travel to Charleston or Minnesota or whatever, and do it that way than have to travel anyways and host somebody in a different state.
Yeah, that's always tough. And again, I know the club appreciates and the fans appreciate Colorado Springs being open to that last season and allowing New Mexico United supporters to come in and basically take it over for a weekend, which is fantastic. So back to USL Championship news. New Mexico United, two more honors for the club last week. Alex Tambakis Save of the Week and Michael Azira Goal of the Week. And I know that people give us a lot of crap in terms of when it comes to the voting on these things, and I'd love to see Harry's take on this. But maybe is it just me, or did the Mexico United supporters just turn out and vote more or in larger quantities than other supporters?
Well, you see, Seth, we have more fans than all of the other USL teams, so all it takes is all of us fans to vote once, and it almost. The only thing I will say about that, though, is that I do think everybody gangs up on us. So if there is a clear standout other than ours, I think everybody tries to vote for it just to screw us, and they still usually can't. So I think it's that, and then I think we have some crazy fans. I think there's fans out there that vote 5 times a day, if not more. From the moment they're announced to the moment it closes, they just constantly vote, and that helps with the numbers. I did notice that the USL Championship took down usually when you vote, it shows you what percentage, what the percentage of the votes broken down by who has what, and they stopped doing that. So now we don't know if we're winning or not. And Harry, you have to understand that most New Mexico United fans don't know anything about the USL Championship before we came to it, so we don't know what that means. I have ideas of it, but you will have to explain that when you come on the podcast next. And Earl with the new sound. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So some team
What? I'm
honors
trying to
going
get a
out.
drink of my Fresca.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Stay hydrated, my friend.
There you go. I see what you did there. I see what you did. Team honors going out for New Mexico United last week, and it's always good to see, especially when players perform well. Kalen, of course, rebounding from a really poor week the week before, so always good to see. But we've got some exciting matches coming up this weekend. First up, we do have San Antonio, another away day for New Mexico United, a midweek, a Wednesday, which to me is kind of weird. I would love to see San Antonio on a Saturday to get out there and actually have a chance to get out, travel, and get out there. I know we have a lot of folks that are going down tomorrow night, but I know I saw Harry talking about this on Twitter. Like why are all these San Antonio matches midweeks, or are they on the weird nights? Like it's for a matchup like this, like in my opinion, two of the better clubs in the Mountain Division. Why do these keep popping up on Wednesdays?
Because it's on ESPN2, so it's a way to hype up. Like you just said, it's two of the better teams in the division, so it's an automatic draw for ESPN2. I guess, unless you don't have ESPN2.
You guys are sucking up because Harry's in the chat. I don't think San Antonio FC is one of the better clubs in the Mountain Division. I think they're bad so far this year. They might turn it around. Like Harry mentioned in the chat earlier that they got PC back, who is San Antonio's version of Yuma, but I just haven't been impressed. Even last week when they beat Colorado Springs, I wasn't impressed. I thought one of the PKs was very soft, and then they looked fine. It just, I think I have no idea why they're all on Wednesday nights. That's just a weird scheduling quirk. But I do agree that it kind of sucks because I would love to get out there. In fact, my aunt is out there right now in San Antonio, and not for the United game. I don't even think she knows what United is, but I would like to go visit and take my family and walk around and look around and see a bunch of things, but as well as go to a game. But that will have to wait till next year because I can't take off work on Wednesday just to go to a soccer game.
Yeah, that's what's rough about these schedules is that the USL wants clubs and their supporters to travel. They want them to get out there, and I think it's great that we have so many clubs close enough that people can travel. But yeah, Wednesday night matches, Monday night matches, like it's a great optic to see football on different nights. But in terms of traveling and being an away supporter, like it just doesn't make sense.
So I gotta take my words back a while ago. And no, I wasn't sucking up to Harry in the chat. I legit thought that San Antonio was higher up on the table, like closer to New Mexico, right with Austin. I guess not. I was completely wrong. So once again, I'm just gonna shut up and act like I know what I'm doing. When in reality, I don't.
Well, to me, it's not even so much about the points. I mean, they're in the ballpark. They'll probably be fighting for a playoff spot, but they just haven't looked good to me when we played them. Anytime that I've watched them, I mean, they had aside from that win Saturday, I think it was against Colorado Springs. Yeah, Saturday because it was a noon game. I think they had like 5 or 6 winless, with a crapload of 1-1 draws. The loss to us. They haven't been inspiring, and I would love to get Harry's take on it. I wish he could actually had a microphone right now and could talk, but we'll have to get him on later when maybe they've turned it around by then, maybe not. But I can't imagine that he is happy with how the season has gone so far, and I don't blame him because I would be very disappointed as well.
Yeah, in 3 matches against Colorado Springs, San Antonio has put up 7 goals against them. So they figured out something about Colorado Springs that other teams just haven't seemed to have done yet. And I really want to see. You talk about the soft penalty, and I'm assuming you're talking about their third goal.
Yes.
Okay. Um, this is gonna, and I know Earl is there. He's listening. I found a take on Twitter, and I was surprised to find myself agreeing with it. And that was of Logan Ketterer. Logan Ketterer tweeted out a a replay of that penalty call, and he said that VAR needed to be back in the league, and I absolutely agree. That third one was not a penalty. Like the keeper came out, he made a play on the ball, deflected the ball away, and then you see, I'm trying to remember the name of the San Antonio player that went down. That was not a penalty. And I'm absolutely shocked by how poor some of these decisions have been. And I don't think they deserve that one there.
Yeah, I agree completely. I'm kind of curious to see if VAR would be implemented without making it mandatory for better camera angles. To me, I'm kind of like, you know what, just do it with what we have and give the referees access to the camera angles that we have right now, and see if they can change it then. Because I can tell you right now, with the camera angles that we have, that one would have been overturned. The red card against Loudon for Yearwood would have been overturned. The handball against Loudon would have been overturned. There's a bunch of missed calls that would be overturned with what we have now, as far as camera angles go. And so I think that it. I wouldn't be opposed. I know a lot of people. I know VAR is a sensitive subject for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, I want the call made right, and I think there's a way to do that and come to a conclusion quickly and not really disrupt the flow of the game. And like I said, at the end of the day, that Loudon match, probably a completely different outcome. The US or the SAFC and Colorado Springs match from this weekend, maybe a different outcome. But don't rob the players of that chance. Oh, Harry, it wouldn't have been overturned. There wasn't enough there. He mentioned last year's playoff match against them and Weehan's possible handball right before his goal. I have yet to see a definitive angle of that play that shows he legitimately touched it. And that's not me coming at it as a New Mexico United fan. Obviously, the wall behind me, the kid on my body right now. But I looked at it as a unbiased observer as many times as I possibly could, and I don't know. I just don't. So I don't think it would have been overturned. Maybe. Who knows? Y'all still had 120 minutes to try to score a goal, and you couldn't. So I don't want to hear too much crying about it.
Yeah, to Harry's point in chat, San Antonio having a lot of injuries. Yeah, he mentioned PC coming back. And so that's definitely going to help strengthen the San Antonio side, and it's going to make it a little bit harder to play against them. I thought the last time out, New Mexico United did pretty well of avoiding allowing San Antonio to use their size to their advantage. And I'm really kind of surprised that against some of these other clubs that San Antonio's size really hasn't played more to their favor. And so, I think that's something that United tries to avoid again tomorrow night. Again, avoiding the high crosses, instead of playing, low and through the box and, shooting from outside, trying to negate that effect. But, it's, I thought San Antonio looked better on Saturday. Again, PC that does make a huge difference. I think if San Antonio can look, I still want to see them a little bit more threatening in the final third. But I definitely think they looked better against Colorado Springs.
I'll agree that they looked better. I just still don't think they looked great. I don't think they looked like the San Antonio that we thought they were going to be coming into this season. And that is one thing that I've noticed that you can follow the USL rather closely and still miss impact of injuries on other clubs. So, Harry's uh, profile picture on everything that I've seen Harry on is a San Antonio FC logo. So I will leave it to him to be the master, the all knowing person for that club, and say that um, he knows better than I do, obviously. So maybe it is just injuries, but they just haven't looked better. They just haven't looked good to me this year. So hopefully we see a closer match. I think we had like 72% of the possession the last match here in New Mexico. So Harry did say that they played its worst game of the season against New Mexico United, and they play much better at home. So we will see. I mean, we know that they have struggled in New Mexico. We played them on this night right here, May 5th of 2019, and beat them 3-0. And then we went to San Antonio later that year and got spanked 5-1, 6-1,
5-1, I think.
5-1, something like that. It was a very bad game. So we know that going there is a much different beast than playing them here. So hopefully they I think it'll be I do think it'll be a closer match, and I'm excited for it. So we'll see what happens.
Earl's got breaking news for us.
I have breaking news, and I'm pretty sure we're the first one to break it, but the Milwaukee Bucks just won the NBA title.
Who are the Bucks?
Woo! I guess
Milwaukee Bucks just won the NBA title.
All right. Well, my prediction there was wrong. So
yeah, I'm relatively sure all of us said Phoenix in 4 or 5. Well, Earl said 4. I know that for sure. I'm pretty sure Seth said 5, and I said 5. So we obviously know nothing about basketball. We probably don't know much about soccer either. But hey, congratulations! I think Giannis went supernova. I don't know what he did tonight because I didn't watch it tonight, but I know leading up to this game he had gone supernova, and that's basically why they won. Is the second year, third year, Aiden? I don't know. I think he's second year. Just couldn't contain him, and that's what happens when you have one of the best players in the league, and he turns into this unstoppable force in the playoffs. You end up winning the title.
Earl, what are your thoughts ahead of tomorrow night's match against San Antonio? What are you looking for out of both teams?
I'm Harry. You're gonna hate me, but I'm hoping that PC gets struck by lightning 3 times. I'm hoping we win, obviously. And I would not mind once again if PC got struck by lightning.
Okay, well, I don't think that exactly, correlates to play on the pitch. But given that it is monsoon season, there is a chance of lightning striking somewhere. But I mean, what do you see United doing? What do you see Troy throwing out there? Do you see them sticking with maybe the 3-4-3 like we've been seeing, or do you think we go back to more like the 3-5-2?
Without giving away my lineup, I think we go back to 3-5-2, just because that's what beat San Antonio in the first place, and that's what seemed to be working when we went on that run for a while. On that whatever stretch we had, 3-game win streak, whatever it was. But yeah, I see us going back to 3-5-2.
Jacob, what do you think we need to do? Where do you think are going to be the key areas tomorrow night in terms of what we need to do to slow down San Antonio on their home pitch?
Well, we just can't make stupid mistakes. It sounds simple. It really does, but if you look at the goals that we've given up the last 3 weeks, the overwhelming majority of them have come directly off of mistakes made by either our midfield or our back line, such as the Haji Berry goal that carried wide and just basically passed it right to Colorado Springs. Uh, so if we can limit those, we've proven that we are very, very tough to score on. So, and I like what Harry said here. So he talks about a little bit about what he's expecting, but he says for San Antonio they will get chances. They just have to convert them, and that was exactly what I was going to say about United. Our chances have been there all season. We just can't put the ball in the back of the net consistently. So, looking for the back line in the midfield just not to make mistakes, and that will surely give chances to who's ever playing up front. We do know that Brian Brown and Harry Swartz are going to miss another game. Peter Troy talked about it in a press conference today on Zoom that I was able to listen to, and so they won't be there, but you'll still have Sandoval, you'll still have Illich. Amando is obviously still out with El Salvador. Congratulations to them for moving on to the knockout round. I wish he was coming back sooner, but it is great to see him get in the game, get in these games, and make a difference. He came on against Mexico and really kind of changed the way El Salvador looked, and and they couldn't quite get the goal, but they did look good. So I I know we're going to be shorthanded, but there will still be people there that should be able to finish, and I expect will at least a couple times. I definitely don't think it's a shutout for either team, and and I think that if we can just play how we've played the last two matches, we will be in pretty good shape. Maybe not so much the Colorado Springs match, but for sure the Charleston match, and I hope that we can come out on top.
All right, so according to Harry, Patino is going to be out for San Antonio tomorrow night. I don't think, if I remember correctly, he didn't play in the first match either, but he was suspended at that point. So, and you know, San Antonio wants to play a wide cross it in, and you know that's something that we saw Charleston and Colorado Springs both like to do, and United made some adjustments prior to those matches and did a lot better at covering those wide areas than they did before that. So hopefully United can continue to do that and limit those chances there. But yeah, I mean, and we talked about last time, you know, San Antonio has a huge size advantage over New Mexico United. I mean, most of our guys are, you know, right around 6 foot. You know, I think Charles is maybe 6'2", 6'3". So, and looking at the size of some of those guys for San Antonio, like Schoberg and some of the others, I mean, you know, playing out wide, playing that cross in is definitely going to be an area that they can take advantage of United. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how tomorrow night plays out down in San Antonio. Hopefully, United can go out there and play well. I don't see us changing too much from the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3, however you want to run it. Now, obviously, with the injury to Sam, there are going to be some. I think there are going to be some differences in how we play exactly. Um, and I don't. And you know we're gonna have guys pop up. You know we're gonna see the academy kids probably in the lineup again tomorrow night. But I don't think this is the opportunity for them to get in there against a team like San Antonio. I mean, you know I love seeing Christian Nava out there. I love seeing Zarate out there. But I don't see them getting run against the size from San Antonio. And that, you know I'm gonna keep saying that. You know that's somewhere that United has never been great at. We've never necessarily signed a larger in stature player, and so that's always been a negative for United and something they have to adapt and plan for. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I can't wait. Again, you know, PC's back. San Antonio, I think they, you know, beginning of the season they were one of my teams to watch. I think they were one of the teams for all of us to watch. We all thought they were going to finish in the top four, without a doubt. So. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough match for United. It's always is going away, And so, all right, let's go around the table. Let's get our scoreline predictions for Wednesday night against San Antonio. Jacob, start us off this week.
Well, the score line that we have seen the most this year is 3-1, one way or another. So I'm going to go 3-1, and I will go New Mexico United. I think it's a very close match. I think it's 2-1 for most of the match, or I should say it's 2-1 towards the end of the match, and then we get a late goal to add just a little bit of separation, like we have in several matches before. So 3-1 United.
All right, Earl.
2-1.
Who?
United.
2-1 United. Okay. We got 3-1 United, 2-1 United. It's tough. I mean, it's always tough calling these games, and obviously, we've been called out on our predictions, especially over on Facebook.
Shout out Jerry.
Yeah, shout out to Jerry, who decided to take one of my predictions against El Paso and think I was like Benny Hill or something. So, we do this for fun. We look at the clubs, we make our predictions based on what we see and what we think is going to happen. Obviously, we're not always going to be right. San Antonio is a tough match. They're a tough home club. They've got size. They've got some really talented players. I'm going to say 2-1 San Antonio. I don't think we get the third win in a row here. I really don't. I think San Antonio plays well. I think they're going to take it to us, and I think they're going to get a late winner.
This kissing Harry's ass while he's in the chat has to stop.
I didn't know why kissing Harry's ass. I think, again, San Antonio's a tough
So,
team.
actually, Harry, I did ask Harry what his prediction was, and he said, I think this will be one of the biggest crowds this year with the USL headquarters in town. So, I think 3-1 San Antonio.
I don't understand your reasoning there, Harry. It sounds like you're saying it's a big crowd, so San Antonio will be better. I don't think San Antonio knows how to perform in front of a big crowd. I think we shown that when they came to New Mexico United back earlier in the season. So I'm not sure. I'm not going to say you're for sure going to be wrong, because you never really know. And United has struggled on the road so far this year. So I mean, they started off pretty strong. Aside from the 1-0 loss to RGV, which looks better and better by the year, or by the week now, but
you just made Jacob lose his thought.
No, I still have it. I was letting him finish before I got even more distracted. So with us playing,
I thought I was on mute.
Oh yeah, okay. With us playing rough on the road lately, anyways, you never know what's going to happen. But I do think that that New Mexico is the better club right now. I understand PC came back and it was a big boost for you guys. But I don't know, man. I just haven't been impressed. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, United definitely has to find a way to play better on the road. They are 2-4-1 on the road so far this season, and San Antonio at home is 2-1-3 at home. So they are definitely doing better at home than they are on the road. And United, obviously, the Road Warriors from the 2020 season are not doing as well on the road so far. Got to turn that around. Even if you can get a point on the road, that's always a positive for a club. But I think that's going to wrap it up for our San Antonio preview and discussion for this week. We'll check back in with Harry throughout tomorrow night and afterwards to see how our predictions went. And we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on this match. I think San Antonio is a lot better than what they've shown so far this year. Once they get past their injury issues, I think we will see San Antonio in the top 4. I really think that.
Who drops out though?
Colorado.
Colorado's not in the top 4 currently.
Well, Colorado's one of those teams they've been in there. They've been playing well. So I think they drop out. I don't expect Austin to finish in the top 4. So that's why I'm saying Colorado. I expect Colorado to be ahead of Austin by the time the playoffs come around. So I think Colorado and Austin miss out, and San Antonio is going to be in that 4. Because I mean, with the way RGV is playing, I just don't see them falling out right now. I mean, if they
No,
have,
RGV's legit. They're not. I don't think they're going anywhere. I thought maybe they were gonna slide down a little bit, but their last three have been win, draw, win, including a strong 2-0 win against Orange County, who had been on fire, and a 3-2 win over El Paso. So they're not going anywhere for sure. I don't know, man. I think personally, unless we can turn it around on the road, I think United, Austin, Colorado Springs, and possibly San Antonio, if they can get healthy and actually look better than what I've seen so far, those four teams are going to be fighting real hard for those last two spots. Maybe I mean I obviously I think New Mexico United has the potential to kind of take off and distance themselves, but I've thought that for a while, and they tend to not do what I think they are capable of. So unless we can start to distance ourselves, and 2 points or 3 points tomorrow would go a long way towards helping us out there. Those four teams all are pretty even to me, and so I wouldn't be shocked if San Antonio's in the playoffs, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they miss by. I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they finish second to last in the group either. So we'll see.
Yeah, still a long way to go. Around 20 matches, give or take, for each of the clubs. El Paso, of course, still does have 2 matches in hand over the next 2 clubs, but following them in the standings. Which, I mean, the whole staggered start to the season really just boggles my mind. I don't like, at this point, being 13 matches in, and you still got clubs with 2 matches in hand. Other than for no reason other than the fact that their season started at a different time, which to me is odd still.
Unless you're Oakland, and then you have like 17 matches in hand because you don't have anywhere to play.
Right there. Yeah, I feel bad for Oakland, man. Like, they came in and things were look super exciting for them to start the season, and now they've had all these issues, and I don't know how they recover from that. Hopefully they get their stuff together by the end of the season, and then year 2 is a lot better for Oakland. But anyway, El Paso. El Paso, the first time in 8 matches that United has played El Paso at home after spending all of last season on the road. Obviously, in the first 2 matches of this year, down in El Paso against them. This has always been a tough matchup. This is we've talked about this has become the rivalry in my mind. New Mexico United and El Paso, and I know you guys have always been on that bandwagon there. El Paso is coming off a 1-0 win over Las Vegas Lights and a 3-1 win. I mean, they've won 3 in a row since losing to RGV. And, I mean, they're looking good. They finally suffered their first loss a few weeks ago to RGV. And El Paso comes in with a week's worth of rest. We're going to have 3 days rest on this one, which is not something I like to see at any point, but especially against El Paso. They're a tough physical club, and they're coming in riding high, top of the group. And again, this is going to be one of those really tough matchups, but it is at the lab, which is a good thing to see. So what do you guys think about this matchup on Saturday night? El Paso finally coming to town.
I'm thinking 1-0.
We're already throwing out scorelines.
Earl's ready for bed. That's what that is.
To get going, and that's why I was throwing that out there.
Well, I think we can. Me and Earl at least can agree. FEP for 1, and 2. Yeah, I think it's. If you look at past, I don't know how much you can take past performance in this into consideration when you remember that we have not played them in New Mexico since a 3-0 drubbing back in 2019 here, and now that wasn't against Ketterer. I'm glad that Ben Bowery got a start before they faced us, which means he probably will not get this start. We will see Ketterer. I would rather see Ketterer than Ben, just because I don't want to have to face somebody that we've played before or that we've had on our team before. So I think that it's obviously going to be tough. It's obviously going to be physical. I don't think we lose. Um, I think we come out of there with a W, and it's going to be a tough match. It's going to be hard fought, obviously, and I'm excited for it. But Earl says he's got to get out of here because he's an old man and has to get up early. So, Earl, do you have any parting
I
words?
have to leave my house at 5:45. No, so I have not really much to say other than FEP. Harry, it was great having you. Maybe next time you'll actually join us in camera. Great conversations, but FEP.
All right, Earl, thanks so much for being here tonight. We will talk to you next week. Well, throughout the week anyway, but we'll see you back on the podcast next week. So
Earl's being such a responsible adult. It's boring.
I know, right? And granted, we do keep him up until
So actually,
those times, so.
Actually, I have to ask, if I leave, does this if I just close out, is it going to cause any problems?
No, you'll be fine.
Okay.
A little technical talk there, folks, for the programs that we use to record the podcast. So there we go. So Jacob, you and I are going to close out this show here. You are correct. The last time New Mexico and El Paso played in Albuquerque, it was a 3-0 win, and that was way back on July 31st, 2019. So it has been almost 2 years to the day that El Paso has been here in town. And a lot's changed since then for both sides. We obviously still have a lot of the same players, so they've got a few folks are still the same. Yuma, of course, with his punchable face, and it is unfortunate to see Ben Bowery over there. Glad that he got picked up somewhere, obviously. So good for Ben. I'm glad to see that, but yeah, definitely don't want to face off against him Saturday night. And I mean, looking back at the last 2 matches this year, I mean, again, tough physical affairs. We didn't necessarily play all that well in either of them, in my opinion. So I think that, if we don't get the win Wednesday night at San Antonio, Saturday night is going to be a big night for United. And not only in terms of, confidence on the pitch, but also where things are going to shake out in the standings. I mean, losing to if we lose to San Antonio, who below us on the table currently, losing to El Paso, who will at that point have 3 matches in hand on us. You can't be dropping points to clubs that have matches in hand, and so that's gonna be tough, man. We said at the beginning of the season, like, the Mountain Division is probably one of the toughest ones out there, and I think that's played out the way that we expected. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is there anything that you see us doing to slow down what El Paso has been doing on this run they're on?
Well, I kind of look at what you said, and I have to disagree. I mean, we had the lead on them in the 6th minute of second half stoppage time, and probably should have walked away with 3 points right then, if not for a spectacular play by a couple of their players to get a goal. And then if you take out a 3-minute stretch of the last match, I feel like we were the better club. So,
You mean like a 90-second stretch?
Yeah, whatever it was. We made mental errors in that second match that led directly to 2 goals. Not gonna point any names. Juan Pablo Guzman. But just we can't do that. And while we have not played perfectly at home either, I think that the Charleston match was our cleanest match that we've had in a long time. And I hope we can continue that. And if we can continue that, then if you compare cleaning up our passes and limiting turnovers and mistakes with playing at home, and if we could have Brian Brown and Harry Swartz back, which Troy said isn't for sure, but definitely a possibility, then you're looking at a formula that could equal a win, maybe even a resounding win here at the lab on Saturday night. So I think if we just go out and play how I know we're capable of playing, and we were at the lab for I guess it was Friday night against Colorado Springs, and Josh Suggs said that they're not going to be bullied anymore. Um, so expect cards, uh, maybe even some red cards. I don't know. It's going to be a chippy match, but as long as we can limit mistakes with the ball in play and um, and make sure we can find the back of the net, then I don't see how we don't walk out of there with a win. And I think that I'm a little more worried about tomorrow night, just because with that looming El Paso match being at home 3 days later, tomorrow night could be one of those classic overlooked games where we're too focused on the El Paso match and we let this one on Wednesday night get by. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I think we will beat San Antonio, obviously, like I said earlier. And if we can take care of business in these two games and get on a at least get a draw tomorrow, then a 4-game unbeaten streak, having faced San Antonio, El Paso, Colorado Springs, all of those in division rivals, that'll be a huge confidence boost and huge for the standings. I mean, like you said, if we drop points the next two matches, we're going to be in a dogfight for the rest of the year, I think. So we really need to take these two opportunities and separate ourselves from the Austins and Colorado Springses and San Antonios, for that matter. And I think we do it, but I also thought we would have a 5-game win streak earlier that didn't happen because of the Loudon. I didn't think we would go 0 for 3 on the road a couple weeks ago. So I obviously am not the be all end all. You mentioned earlier that we wouldn't get all of our predictions right. I think that's obvious, because I think if we did, most of the teams, or New Mexico United anyways, would go 32, 30 and 30-0-2 probably, if we all got all our predictions right. So it's an interesting 4 days coming up, and I can't wait to be with you guys Saturday at the lab for that El Paso match. I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere, no matter how many tickets they sell. With just El Paso being in, I think it's going to be a dogfight, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, El Paso's always fun. They're always physical matches. There's always some back and forth. We've had 10 yellow cards through 2 matches with them so far this season. The first one had 6, second had 4. I mean, not quite the amount of chippiness as we saw during the first 2 seasons, but it is still there. There is no love lost between these two clubs. And, it's mental mistakes. And that's what's doomed us, quite a bit so far this season, is those mental errors, making mistakes, particularly in the defensive third, and putting ourselves, in poor positions and allowing goals from those areas. And we can't do that, not against really any team, but especially a team like El Paso, who is able to take advantage of those. And we saw that with Dylan Mares last time out. So it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a close match, and I don't know. I know Earl gave his prediction earlier on the scoreline. I'm gonna go 2-1 us Saturday night. I think we, after hearing what the guys said and what Troy said, after the Colorado Springs match, I don't think they're going to take crap for anybody. I think they know what's expected of them and what they have to do in order to walk away with 3 points every single week. And, they've got to show that against the club of El Paso. I mean, 3 points Saturday night is going to make a huge difference in terms of how it looks, with El Paso still having matches in hand, and where things could end up at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's probably as close to a must-win match as there can be before we're even halfway through the season. But I do think that it's a very important match. It's one that I'm sure some of the players, they probably won't tell you. Troy definitely won't tell you, but I'm sure the team has had this one scheduled or circled on the schedule for a while, and I expect some fireworks on the pitch, whether that be goals, fisticuffs, as they would say back in the day, something. There's it's going to be an interesting match, and I struggled with how I thought it would actually go and what the scoreline would officially be, but I think 2-1's probably more likely, but I will go 2-0. Um, I I think we already should have shut him out once. If it wasn't for two mistakes, we'd have shut him out again. Um, so I think we can get a shutout. I think we can get a couple goals on the board and withstand their pressure. Maybe it's like 1-0 going into like the 70th minute, and they're really pushing, and we counter or have a little spell of possession and find a goal off a set piece or something and break their spirits and then we can see the game out from there. Um, I think it's going to be a good one. Quick question for you, Seth. How many set piece goals did we have in year one?
I think it was like single digit goals, probably somewhere around like 5 or 6.
It was 5.
Okay.
And that's 34 matches. We had 5 set piece goals, and 2 of them were happy accidents, I would say. One ping ponged around and found Santi wide open on the back post, and he buried it because he was wide open. And then one, I think it was Schmidt, headed it towards goal. I think it was a shot attempt, or at least it was meant to be. But Sandoval happened to be there and got a toe on it and poked it past the keeper. Whereas this year we have had 4. That seems wrong, actually. Now I am second guessing myself, but I know of 4 at least. We have the beautiful Suggs Guzman dummy against Colorado Springs. We had the Kalen Ryden header against Charleston. We had a Zira's goal. We've had 2 free kicks, so that's actually 5 right there. We've had 2 free kick goals.
Yeah, Cellos, you got Bryans, you got Azira and
Ryden, Suggs.
Yeah, Suggs.
And then technically, actually, the Sergio Rivas goal, the first one against Colorado Springs, was on a set piece. It was a free kick from probably 40 yards out. Suggs tapped it to Brucey. Brucey stopped it. Suggs sent it to the back post. Ryden got a piece of it, sent it back across goal, and Rivas was there. So 6 already this year in 13 games. So we've already outdone year 1 by 1. So I would expect a set piece goal either tomorrow night or Saturday night, one or the other, and those have gone a long way to helping us get offense when we have struggled to put the ball in the back of the net at times. So I just found that in some research that I did. We're actually behind the pace as far as points go for compared to last season. But I think we've got a lot more time left this year to make up for that, and I think we find our footing and make a run here. So 6 points in the next 4 days would go a long way, and let's hope that happens.
Yeah, it definitely would. Coming off of back-to-back wins last week, 6 more points would be absolutely huge in terms of how we look at things between now and the end of the season. And picking up points against two really tough opponents is always a positive. And you have to think that that's going to help generate even more confidence among the guys, among the club, and help propel them through the next few weeks coming up. So, all right, I think that's going to just about do it for us here tonight. You've heard our predictions and thoughts on both San Antonio and El Paso. Earl kicked it out kicked out of here early tonight. Huge thank you to Harry Austin for joining us in the chat. Harry, appreciate you. We're going to get you on the show in the not too distant future. Appreciate your comments and your insights on San Antonio. And we're working on getting Jerry Murillo from El Paso fandom, getting him on here. And we got some other things that we're working on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out and being with us here in chat. Oh, hey, I think that's Jerry right there in the chat. So yeah, we're gonna get you on the show, man. We'll get you on the show probably at the next match. And I would love to get your insights on El Paso and how they're doing so far this year. So again, thank you to everyone who's hanging out on YouTube with us. Jacob, get us out of here.
Awesome, man. Jerry, quick prediction for Saturday's match. And while he's typing that, I'll start the wrap up. Yeah, guys, we started a little early because Earl's a little old, even though he's the youngest of the three of us. But he has an early morning in the morning, so we started a little early just so we could get out of here a little early so he could get to bed. Can't wait till next week. Hopefully we got 6 points that we can talk about and 2 matches to break down. It was weird not having a match to break down tonight, but I'll take that if it means a little bit of rest for our guys. So, excuse me. That completely threw me off. I don't know why that threw me off. I am a professional and I should be better at this, guys. But
50 episodes in, you absolutely should be.
Right? I know. I think I missed a couple of those though. Jerry actually predicts a 2-2 draw. That is humble coming from the man of the meme on USL fan page on Facebook. So if you missed it, Jerry, I said 2-0 New Mexico, and Seth said 2-1, and I think Earl said 1-0 New Mexico. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 2-2, but I just think coming to New Mexico for the first time in almost 2 calendar years, I think we find a way to muster out a win. So sorry you hopped on so late here. We'll get you on either. Maybe we'll do a side piece before this weekend's match or before the next match. You know, we got one more after this, which is when. Why can't I find it? Oh, Meow Wolf Night on August 14th. So we'll get you on for sure. Maybe even after that, and to kind of see where we're at the end of the year here. But it's good. It's good. Good to have fans of other teams following us and talking with us and being able to go back and forth and have a good time. So, Jerry, we're going to have to let you go. We're going to get out of here a little early. We'll be back next week. Next week, as far as we know, will be 9:30 as usual, and we can't wait to be back here with you guys and to be with fellow United fans at the lab on Saturday. So don't forget that tomorrow night's match is on ESPN2. So if you have an ESPN Plus subscription and that is it, it will not work. You will need to find somebody with cable to bum it off of so you can watch it, or go to a local bar, support local places and watch it from there. And that'll be at 7:30 tomorrow night on ESPN2, and then back Saturday 7:30, I believe, as well, on ESPN Plus if you cannot make it out to the lab. But please, if you're in the area, go to the lab. Let's pack it out. Let's show El Paso what fan support really is, and let's get 6 points this week, guys. So until next week, Somos Unidos.
All right, that's going to do it, YouTube. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Harry, Jerry, thank you guys both so much for being here. Great points by Jerry there in chat. If San Antonio beats New Mexico, then El Paso wins 2-1. It's about confidence. Yeah, absolutely is. The confidence is a huge, huge thing. And, you know, San Antonio is going to be, both these matches are going to be telling, you know, where the club's mindset is at and how they're doing. So that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Follow us, on all our socials, and we will be back on the podcast again, like Jacob said, on Tuesday night, probably at 9:30. So until then, guys, have a good one.